Good morning, everyone. This is Ted Murmagos, and I'm the director here at the Delaware Division of Child Support Services. And this is our monthly child support connection. This is where we talk about child support for an hour, and hopefully we get some questions that I can answer. I'm trying something a little new today, so I hope it's working out. I've shared a screen with a presentation that I'm hoping we can go through. So if I see we have 4 people who have joined us so far, if everything looks okay, maybe just give me a shout out in the comments that it looks good, and we'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and at least start the presentation. And if there's any questions, I'd be more than happy. I'll stop what I'm doing and we'll go ahead and kind of tackle your questions about child support. So I always like to talk a little bit about our, it's actually a little silly, but this very first screen of the presentation actually has some valuable information that I always like to share with people. Back in about 2015, our division was able to change our division's name. We used to be known as the Division of Child Support Enforcement. As you can see from this slide, we are now known ever since 2015 as the Division of Child Support Services. And I always like to share that with people when I'm doing a presentation, because although we have a responsibility for enforcing child support orders, to make sure people are paying their court-ordered child support, I always like to remind people that we are a service-oriented agency. So we want to provide a service to individuals who are either receiving child support or are obligated to pay a child support order. You know, we want to be able to help them maneuver through the child support system. So I always like to mention that when we have a conversation with individuals. So let's see here. The next slide is our mission statement. So this is our mission here at the Division of Child Support Services. And I always like when I do the Child Support Connection, if you've viewed these videos before, I always like to talk about our mission, and I'm going to go ahead and read it. Our mission at Delaware's Division of Child Support Services is to deliver quality customer support by partnering with parents, that's both parents, to improve the lives of children and their families. This is achieved through obtaining accurate child support orders to meet the financial, medical, and emotional needs to promote family self-sufficiency and the best outcomes for children. The child support program was established in 1975 as part of the Social Security Act. Let's see here. In Delaware, we currently have about 73,000 child support cases. And as you probably suspect, the majority of those cases are in Newcastle County, 32,522. In Kent County, we have about 16,202. And in Sussex County, approximately 24,261 cases. When we talk about caseloads, I always like to say, you know, about 60% of those cases are in Newcastle, 20% are in Kent, and 20% are in Sussex County. You know, a majority of the cases are up in Newcastle, obviously because the city of Wilmington, it's a little bit more dense population. So we talk about this from time to time, and I'll interject again here. If you have a child support question, and we already have one, you can go ahead and put it in the chat. So if an ex cohabitates with someone, can this change the amount of the support order? So no. Child support, when they create the child support obligation in the family court, only uses the income of the parent, of the children involved in the court order. Now, they will take into effect a non-custodial parent who is supporting multiple families. So in that particular situation, the courts do take that into consideration. But what I was first started out by saying is they won't take into effect a current spouse's income of the non-custodial parent to create a child support obligation. But they do consider looking at how many households that individual is supporting in order to come up with a child support obligation. Let's see, just want to make sure there's no more questions. So this slide talks a little bit about our payment methods. So a non-custodial parent who is ordered by the family court here in Delaware or through another jurisdiction can make their child support payments in several ways. The first way is through a check or a money order. In every court order that's issued by the family court, it indicates on that court order where the person can mail the payments. So if they need to make a check or money order payment, they can always mail it to our office up here in Newcastle County and make that payment. Or just in Newcastle County, we have a drop box that's available to the public 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's outside of our building at the Churchman's Corporate Center. But anybody can make a child support payment by check or money order. Just make sure your name and either the case number or the payer's social security number is on that payment. The next way is through income withholding orders. So every court order, pretty much every court order, 99% of those court orders, will indicate that if the non-custodial parent is employed, that a wage withholding will be issued by the child support office to that employer, who will make a deduction to the non-custodial parent's wages and mail those payments to the child support office. We collect about 76% of all of the child support payments that come into the state of Delaware come from a wage withholding issued by, deducted from a paycheck and sent to us by an employer. The next way is through iPay Online. iPay Online is an online website that non-custodial parents, employers, non-custodial parents, parents can make a payment, a grandparent can make a payment on behalf of a non-custodial parent. As long as you know the case number and you want to make a payment, you could log into iPay Online and you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank account to make a one-time payment or a reoccurring payment through iPay Online. And it's convenient. You can set it, like I said, you can set it up for a reoccurring payment every month on the 15th. You want X amount of dollars to come out of your paycheck, out of your bank account or credit union account. You can set it up that way, or off your debit card, you can set it up that way, and it'll come out and be applied to your case. So that's through iPay Online. The last way is through the Touchpad Kiosks. The Touchpad kiosks are located at probation and parole offices in the state and at the DMV. And you can actually make a cash payment at the kiosk, and that payment will be electronically sent to the child support office. That is the only place you can make a cash payment, is through those Touchpad kiosks. We do not accept cash at any of our offices, and the only payments that we accept in our downstate, our two downstate offices, is for a license suspension. You want to get your license reinstated, or if you've been ordered by the court to make a purge payment. So those are the only two ways that a payment can be made in our two downstate offices. But in Newcastle, like I said, we have that drop box that's available. I'm happy to let people know that we are looking at and are very close to, not looking at, we're very close within the next couple months of being able to accept payments through a telephone service that you can call our child support office and make a payment over the telephone. We are also going to be using Venmo and PayPal in the very near future. So if people wanted to make an electronic payment, they can make those payments. And those three additional ways. So we're always looking for safe, secure, and efficient ways for non-custodial parents to make payments. There never should be an excuse why I couldn't make a payment because I didn't know how, or I don't know how to do it. There's multiple ways that an individual can make a child support payment. And I can't wait till we enroll the telephone service and Venmo and PayPal. It's really exciting for us as a child support program. I just want to make sure there's no other questions coming in. Oh, there is one question. I'm sorry, I missed it. What is a DAG review and why does this process take so long? I submitted my paperwork back on August 28th of 2021. So oftentimes, and I'm sorry that I missed this question. So when during the pandemic, there's a couple things happening here. If you submitted your paperwork for a filing and it was for a contempt petition, this is something we kind of, during the pandemic, added another layer of review because people were out of work. So we wanted to make sure that before we generated a contempt petition to be submitted to the family court, that we talked to the Department of Justice for a review to make sure that it truly did kind of warrant a contempt petition from being filed. So, but so that's like another added layer, which we consult with the DAGs. Hey, we want to file a contempt on this case. This is the situation, and they would give us the yay or nay, and we have a discussion with them. Whenever we generate a petition or a motion for a filing at family court, whether it's a new support petition, whether it's a contempt petition, a modification petition, we generate the petition here, but it has to be reviewed and signed off on by the Department of Justice before they file it with the family court. So now, August of 2021, it seems like an extremely long period of time. And to me, that raises a couple red flags with me that I would certainly like to take a closer look at that to determine what's going on and why it hasn't been addressed in all this time. So I think we have your name, and I'll use your name to look into our Delaware child support system to see if I can figure out what's going on and have either a supervisor or someone in our customer service unit contact you with regards to next steps. If you want, you can send a private message or a personal message to our Facebook page, our community relations officer. We'll look at it and get it to me with your case number and any other kind of information you think needs to be provided to us. Don't provide it in the chat, but if you send us a single message, I'll take a look at it too and find out why it's taking so long, and see what if there's any kind of circumstances that we should be letting you know, because minimally we should be letting you know if there's a delay in processing a case with a discussion with the Department of Justice. So if you want to private message us, we will go ahead and certainly respond to your concerns. Let me just see if you had anything you added. Okay. So we'll go on to the next slide. So I talked a little bit about how non-custodial parents can make a child support payment to us. Those 4 different ways, and then the 3 additional ways that we're going to be adding. This slide talks a little bit about how we, at child support, disperse payments to custodial parents. So if the courts have ordered that you're to receive a child support payment, what happens is we receive the payment either from an employer, from the non-custodial parent, and we log it into our child support system. And then the payment is sent out to the custodial parent. It is Delaware law that when you become a client of the division, that you sign up for our U.S. bank issued Relia Card, or you sign up for direct deposit. Let's talk about the Relia Card first. The Relia Card is just like a regular debit credit card that we load with child support payments that we've received from a non-custodial parent. And those funds then are sent to the credit card, and the credit card can be used for anything that the custodial parent needs to use it for. We at child support do not track what people are spending the money on. It's not our responsibility to track those payments. And quite honestly, it's something we do not even want to get involved in, as I'm sure you can understand. There have been questions through the Child Support Connection, and when I'm on the radio that 3rd Wednesday of every month with 92.7 7 WGMD 98.5. We've gotten questions from time to time about why we can't track what custodial parents are spending, and that's something we do not feel is our responsibility, and we do not want to get involved with that. The Relia Card is a very good way to receive your child support payments. The next way is through direct deposit. So you had to sign up for the Relia Card or direct deposit, and that's where you can give us a checking account, savings account, credit union account, and any payment that we get from a non-custodial parent will be sent directly to that bank account. And the good thing about that is that it's fast, it's safe, it's obviously faster than us having to send you a check in the mail. It's secure, and when you're, if you're traveling, you go on a vacation, and you'll always be able to get the money. You're not waiting for a check to come in. It's always going to your bank account or to the Relia Card. Now, there are some situations that require us to issue a check. And we still issue checks, not as many. At one time, we were issuing about 650,000 checks a year. We issue about 5,000 checks a year now. And it's for those people who are unbankable or just can't get either the debit card or have a bank account. So we will still send checks. Oh, and for those people who get maybe 1 or 2 checks a year, maybe from a tax intercept on an arrears only case, or one of our enforcement tools gets a lump sum payment, we'll send that payment out via check. I see there's another question, so let's go to the chat. Let's see here. Why is it the non-custodial parent for a child that is a full-time student or of a private institution? Why isn't a non-custodial parent responsible for a child that is a full-time student in a private institution? I don't know why. I don't know why they wouldn't be responsible. If they have been deemed to be the biological parent of the child, the courts will, if there's a filing with the family court, the courts will create a court order for child support. Now, I'm not quite sure whether you're referring to, let's see here. Whether the courts sometimes not including private schooling for the children in their calculation or something along those lines. And quite honestly, that's the family court's discretion. They are looking at and determining what the child support calculation is going to determine, and they can use that information, whether the child is in private school or public school, to determine how that's going to affect the child support obligation. Let's see here. I thought I saw another question. And I'm sorry, I might have missed a couple questions in the beginning. I'm still learning how to use Facebook here, so. All right. Okay, so going back to the presentation. So those are the 3 ways that we disperse child support payments here in the state of Delaware. I strongly encourage people to sign up for the Relia Card or the direct deposit. It is so much more efficient than having to wait for a check. So I just strongly encourage people to do that. It's just definitely efficient. You can get it anytime, wherever you are, you can get that payment. So this slide talks a little bit about, oftentimes there's some confusion about the responsibilities of the Division of Child Support Services and what the Department of Justice is responsible for and what the family court is responsible for. So this slide talks a little bit about the different responsibilities of each entity. And so I'll run through a few things on this list. For the Division of Child Support, and we're in that first column, obviously we receive an application for services from individuals who are not receiving TANF or Medicaid. If you're receiving TANF or Medicaid at our sister division, at the Division of Social Services, we have a direct interface with them, and we'll open a case if for child support. And the next thing on the list here is we register foreign orders, and we talk about that from time to time here at the Child Support Connection. We talk about, hey, one party lives in a different state. How do I handle, getting a child support order if I live in Delaware and I'm the custodial parent? Or I moved from a different state where we both lived and I have a court order, from the state of Maryland or Pennsylvania. We can register that order in the state of Delaware and enforce it just like it is a Delaware child support order. We locate parents, parent locate services. If you're a custodial parent and you don't know where the non-custodial parent lives, but you have their name and date of birth or their name and social security number, we can locate those individuals to start a child support obligation and try to move the case forward. We establish paternity. No child support orders in the state of Delaware can be created without paternity first being established. And that's one of the things I talk about all the time here when we do this Facebook Live event. It is so important that paternity be established for children. And I'll run through the ways real quick. There's only 3 ways. One is if the child was born during a marriage, paternity is automatically established for that child. Secondly is through our Voluntary Acknowledgement of Paternity program. Both parents acknowledge, I am the biological mother, I am the biological father. There's a form that we can give them here at Child Support in any of our 3 offices. There's a form at the Office of Vital Statistics. It's called a Voluntary Acknowledgement of Paternity form. Both parents sign it and notarize it and submit the document to the Office of Vital Statistics. Or they can send it to us and we'll get it to the Office of Vital Statistics. But they're basically acknowledging paternity for the child. And it's the easy, free, simple way of doing it, but it has to be notarized. And we'll do that for free here at Child Support if you want to get it done. The third way is through genetic testing. And with the help of the family court or just child support alone, we can help you schedule genetic testing for the mom, child, and putative father, the father who we believe is going to be the biological father. And it's simply done. And it does not have any pain involved. It's just a swab of the inner cheek. And we take we have it done at LabCorp, and they process it for us. So those are the 3 ways paternity is established, and it's so important for children. Especially if those children were born out of wedlock, we want to help you establish paternity for those kids. We generate petitions, and I've talked a little bit about this with the question that came into the chat. We generate petitions for child support, modifications, contempt petitions, but all of those petitions have to be reviewed by the family court. By the Department of Justice, and then are sent to the family court. Our staff attend family court mediation. So the family court likes to attempt to mediate child support. And all cases will get submitted when we generate a petition, will be sent to family court, and be heard at a mediation session. It's only when the parents cannot agree at mediation or the parents have a previous domestic violence history that those cases are then referred to a family court commissioner. But our child support specialists will meet with individuals at family court prior to a hearing and will be in the family court mediation to assist the custodial parent in answering any questions for both parents, quite honestly, about the child support process. So we also have a child support, and if you've ever contacted our child support office, we have a customer service unit. They are some of the hardest working employees we have here at Child Support. There is about 20 child support specialists that can answer your questions by calling 577-7171. And if you hit, I think it's number 5 on the phone dial, you can actually speak to a child support specialist about your child support questions or have them answered or concerns. Additionally, by calling that number, 577-7171, we have an automated assistance line. So if you have a case number You can check, did a payment come in? You can check the current status of your child support case. Or if you don't have a case number, you can just call, and there's different prompts that can provide you different information about some of the things we do here at the Child Support Office. But they're available. Our customer service unit is available from Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Each day. The office is closed at 4:30, but we have to make sure that we get everybody that's called up to 4 o'clock out of the queue by 4:30. So 8 to 4 every day you can call our customer service unit. We have a state disbursement unit. So that's where all of the child support payments in the state of Delaware are directed. We're obligated to have a state disbursement unit. Last year we collected $91 million in child support. In that state disbursement unit, there's another bunch of employees that work very hard to get those payments in the system and get them out to the custodial parents very efficiently and timely and very quickly in order to make sure they got their child support payments. So the next little list are some of those continuing under the child support section of this chart. The next list is just some enforcement tools that we have. I'm just going to run through them real quick. We work with insurance companies to intercept lump sum payments. We report to the credit bureaus regarding undue child support arrearages. We talked about this earlier, issued wage withholdings to employers to receive child support payments. We do lottery intercept. So if someone wins the lottery, the Delaware lottery, and they have to go to the Division of Lottery to collect, they are running your name to see if you owe child support, and we will intercept that, the child support arrearages. We do passport denial. So if you have a passport, we won't, at this current stage, won't stop you from having it, but we do deny new passports from being issued. We have a state and federal tax intercept program. So if you're due a refund, you're a non-custodial parent and you're due a refund from the IRS or the Delaware Division of Revenue, we can intercept that refund for child support arrears. We intercept unemployment payments. So if you're getting unemployment, we can intercept that for child support. We will never intercept someone's full unemployment check. We will intercept up to 50% of that unemployment to pay the child support obligation. And we have the video lottery, which also includes 3 casinos here in the state of Delaware. If you hit at the casino over $1,200 and you have to go to the window to claim it, they will run your name to see if you owe child support. And if you do, they will send us your child support arrearages that you owe from those casino winnings. I just want to see if there's any new additional calls here or new comments. There is. So I'm going to go and we'll talk about the next column in a minute. I wanted to answer, there's 2 questions here. Delaware law states the child is emancipated. Let's see here. Why isn't it? Okay, so I guess that's my colleague answering that question. So I'll just go ahead and read it. Delaware law states that the child support is emancipated at age 18 or 19 if they are still in school. A Delaware family court will not establish a court child support order for a child 20 years or older. Oh, so if you're talking about someone who is in school but then goes to college, I see. Jennifer had a question. She's 20 but only works part-time job at school the other 10 hours a week. So that's the answer. The child emancipation laws, age 18 or 19 unless they are still in high school, and that's the date of graduation. The next question is, can a paternity test that was done before the baby was born through a lab count for child support paternity? I'm not aware of that. Anytime that we talk about establishing paternity for children that have been born out of wedlock, and sometimes we talk to pregnant moms, and we say that we, as a rule, tell them that paternity cannot be established until a child is born. So I don't believe that the courts would accept that, and that's really something that if this is a situation like we haven't generated a new support petition yet, and you've had the paternity established prior to the birth of the child, that's something we could definitely talk to the Department of Justice about, get their advice, and talk a little bit about what they think about next steps in taking that petition to family court. They may say, let's see if we can get the non-custodial parent to, on the family court record, acknowledge paternity, just to kind of make it, tighten it up a little bit. But it's ultimately up to the court on what they, what's been submitted as it relates to that paternity being established, and will the court accept that as paternity being established? So I know I was not answering the question. I guess it's really about court discretion and about maybe getting the biological father to acknowledge on the court record that, hey, I am the biological, the genetic testing was done before the child was born, and I acknowledge that. Those are really good questions, though, and I thank my colleagues for clarifying it. The next question is, how late can a payment be before it should be reported? So what we try to do is we really want to try, this is a kind of a philosophy we have here in Delaware. We certainly want to try to work with non-custodial parents to become to meet their obligation and to make their regular child support payments. So we want to try to work with them. Are they working? Can we issue a wage withholding? And that kind of thing. So if a parent the non-custodial parent is not willing to work with the child support office on providing us information to get those payments coming in the office regularly, we can certainly generate a contempt petition. And normally what we like to say to custodial parents is, first, give us an opportunity to work with the non-custodial parent. Second, if you haven't received a payment within 30 to 45 days, try reaching out to your worker through the customer service unit, 302-577-7171, and let's talk about next steps. Sometimes, now this is really important, sometimes we at child support cannot generate a contempt petition when someone has failed to make a payment, because there may be a capias, for instance. And a capias is a civil bench warrant by the family court for when the non-custodial parent maybe was supposed to come to court the last time but failed to show up. So that petition is still pending before the family court. So there are sometimes circumstances that prevent us from generating a contempt petition. But to get to answer your question, if you haven't gotten a payment 30 to 45 days, give us a call, talk to a child support specialist in our customer service unit, and let's see if they can help provide you with information about what the next steps are, and if we have to, generate a contempt petition for the non-custodial parent to be brought back into family court. But we certainly want to try to work with non-custodial parents. That's why we use those enforcement tools and try to get payments in the door. I'm going to continue with some questions. My son is due in May. Can I start the process for child support now, or do I have to wait until he is born to start anything? So, good question. And our recommendation is to wait until the child is born. You could still certainly, and I encourage you to do this, either call us and have us send you an application for child support services. Go to our child support website, and I'm going to ask my community relations officer to put that in the chat, our website, and look at and get instructions on how to fill out a child support application online. Don't do it yet, because you can't submit it until the child is born, but look at how to do it and what the instructions are, and just kind of fill yourself in on the child support process. That'll certainly get you in the right direction for when you have your son in May, and will get you at least one step started in the process. Oftentimes I tell custodial parents and non-custodial parents, we certainly, and I say this on the radio the third Wednesday of every month, we certainly want moms and dads to work together, or custodial parent and non-custodial parent to work together, hopefully without having to use the child support system. We want to be here to help people, but if mom and dad can get child support, arrangements made out without having to go to family court, without having to come to child support, we certainly embrace that. We want people to work together, but we're here. If you need to fill out a child support application, we can certainly send you one, or recommend that you check out our website. Tons of great information there, especially about how to fill out an electronic child support application that can be submitted to us electronically. But thank you for those questions. I really appreciate it. All right, I'm going to go back to this this chart. I just got done talking about our child support services under the first column in red. The next group of individuals I want to talk about is the Department of Justice, and they're in that middle column. The Department of Justice is the child support program's attorneys, and they help us process child support cases. So they review and sign all of our petitions, motions, documents that we need to file with the family court. They will sign those documents. We generate them, but they review them and make sure they're accurate, the case warrants it, and they will file that application, or that document with the family court. They provide legal advice to the child support program, and they file, like I said, they file those child support petitions with the family court. Now, they represent the custodial parent and our office at all commissioners' hearings. So mediation, the child support worker attends. Commissioners' hearings, the Department of Justice attends. And they file and represent the client or the state if there needs to be an appeal of a previous commissioner's order or mediation order within the family court. They do have the ability through Delaware law to prosecute NCPs, non-custodial parents, for failure to meet their child support obligations. They certainly do it civilly, because child support in the state of Delaware is a civil filing. And there is a statute, even though we don't use it very often, to file criminally for non-payment of child support. The third column is the family court. So the family court schedules court dates. So we generate the document, the DAG sign the document, and we send it to family court. And they schedule hearings, whether it's at mediation or whether it's at a commissioner's hearing. They do all of that at family court. They establish the orders using the Delaware child support formula. They modify orders. They register those foreign orders. Like I talked about, if the two parents lived in a different state, but one of them or both of them moves to Delaware, we can register that out-of-state order in the Delaware family court for just like it's a Delaware order. And they can issue, as I mentioned, family court capiases. It's a civil bench warrant if someone does not show up to a hearing or does not show up to genetic testing. They can issue a civil capias for the party's arrest. And lastly, the family court is the only entity, when we talk about child support, that can incarcerate for failure to pay. Now, one of the things I always like to mention about incarceration is I personally don't think that incarceration helps anybody out. Certainly doesn't help the non-custodial parent, who will have to go into the prison system, into the correctional system. Doesn't help custodial parents, because they certainly aren't going to get any child support payments if someone is incarcerated. So I always like to say it's a tool of last resort. We at Child Support want to work with non-custodial parents to help them avoid incarceration so that we can get child support to their children. I always like to mention also visitation, custody, domestic violence issues, all separate issues that the family court deals with. Child support does not deal with those issues. We do not deal with the issues of custody or visitation. So that's the three, the Delaware child support process, child support, Department of Justice, and the family court. The three of us have our own separate responsibilities and are required to do certain tasks. So we got a new question. And thank you for these questions. I keep them coming. I certainly enjoy answering them. So when the non-custodial parent is in arrears, will it be deducted from their taxes this year? So that's a very good question. The first answer is contact our child support customer service unit. They will be able to for sure answer your case-specific information as to whether we submitted the non-custodial parent for the federal tax intercept and the State Division of Revenue tax refund intercept programs. Now, a couple things come into play. One is, did we submit the person for those programs? And we do that at certain times of the year, so you need to make sure we did it. Secondly is, does the non-custodial parent file their taxes? Did they, were they due a refund? If they file their taxes and didn't get a refund, there's not going to be an intercept. It's only when we only intercept refunds of their taxes. So if they don't file, if they're not due a refund, there's not going to be an intercept. But I'm pretty sure that we would have submitted all of the cases that we needed to submit. So I'm encouraging you to call our customer service unit just to confirm, hey, did you submit him for the tax refund program? And they'll be able to tell you that. And if we did, then we're good. Only if he submits his taxes or she submits their taxes and they are due a refund. So if those, that's how the program works. There's another new question. I'm not sure if you answered this yet, but do I need to file for custody or visitation before a child support order? The answer to that question is absolutely not. You do not need to have a custody order in place or a visitation order in place to have a child support order. You can get child support without having visitation or custody, and that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. However, the courts will talk a little bit about in the hearing, how much time the child spends with each of the parents, and kind of make sure that there's that kind of thing. But so the answer to the question is you do not need to do that. So if you need a child support order, contact us. Go to our website, and you can fill out an application. We'd be more than happy to send you an application, or you can submit it electronically. But you do not need a visitation or custody order to do that. Excellent question. Okay, there are no new questions, so I'm going to go ahead. We have about 15 minutes left, and I'm going to go to the next slide here. And the next series of slides are kind of about kind of like FAQs, frequently asked questions. So some of these questions and responses are great for non-custodial parents. So if you know a non-custodial parent, encourage them to go to our Facebook page and watch this video. And there's a whole bunch of good information for non-custodial parents. We encourage them to also tune in because we want to be able to answer any of the questions they may have. So the next question is, who must pay child support? Obviously, both parents are responsible for supporting the children. If the parents are not living together, either parent may ask the court for a child support order. There are times where non-custodial parents say, hey, it's in my best interest to have the court recognize my obligation. And a non-custodial parent can file for to have child support, take, a child support order. But by law, the law applies to parents who were both married as well as parents who were not married. So both parents are required to pay child support. What happens if the man or the non-custodial parent man says he's not the father? Doesn't have to be a non-custodial parent. The courts, and I talked a little bit about this already, can order that paternity be established. An appointment is made with the putative father, the mother, the child at the laboratory, and a saliva sample or other genetic materials are taken, and 99.99%, is the number, and paternity is established, and we'll take it to court and have a child support obligation created. So the next question, thanks for these questions. Does a custodial parent get compensated for out-of-pocket medical, dental, orthodontal expenses over the time the NCP hasn't been under the same roof? Does Delaware factor in child maintenance such as clothes, extracurricular activities, etc.? So let's take this in two parts. In all of the family court orders that are created, the family court will talk about medical, dental, orthodontal, all of that kind of stuff. And they will take all of that into effect. And a couple things can happen. The courts could say, for instance, in this particular situation, it's like, Mom, you've already got medical insurance coverage. You're going to be responsible for X amount of dollars. Then after this amount, non-custodial parent is to pay their responsibility. So yes, the courts do take that all into effect. The courts will determine what the non-custodial parent's obligation is as it relates to health insurance and medical bills and dental bills that are over and above what the insurance will pay. And there's a process that's involved. Custodial parents need to communicate directly with non-custodial parents about, I've paid X amount of dollars, it's your responsibility now, and provide them with materials that proves it's their responsibility. And I think they even say send it in a certified letter, so you have proof that the non-custodial parent received it. Then the non-custodial parent would pay their portion to the custodial parent directly for medical expenses. Oftentimes, as you probably suspect, non-custodial parents do not come up with their portion of the medical or dental bills. And we have a document that we provide to custodial parents, and that's why record keeping is so important, of unpaid medical bills. And we have a form that we send to custodial parents. And I believe every 2 years, if not sooner, we can file a contempt petition, a medical contempt petition with the family court that says, non-custodial parent was responsible for X amount of dollars. Here's the breakdown of the bills. We've sent those, or the custodial parent has sent those bills to the non-custodial parent, and that person has failed to pay. And the courts can actually incorporate that into an order, that you're to pay an additional $25 a month to pay off these outstanding medical bills or outstanding dental bills. So yes, the courts in every court order will determine what the medical obligations are and who's to pay what and how much is to be paid. And we will help enforce that part of the order. But there is a lot of medical record keeping that's involved. And we often help custodial parents provide forms and documents that parents can document the unpaid portion and that kind of thing. But any of this information that I'm sharing with you, if you call our customer service unit, they can certainly help provide more detailed information, and they're really good at it. The second part of that question was, does Delaware factor in child maintenance, clothes, extracurricular activities, and that kind of thing? That is also a family court discretion. One of the things I always tell both custodial and non-custodial parents when it comes to court hearings is to put it all out there. Let the courts know exactly what is going on in your household, the kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly, and kind of just fill them in on everything, because the courts do have a lot of discretion, especially when you're before a family court commissioner. You'll always have an opportunity to talk to an attorney beforehand and lay all of this information out to them. The more information the attorneys have going into a hearing, the better off they're going to be to answer your questions and to get that on the family court record and in a family court order. I hope that was helpful. But please contact our customer service unit. They'll be able to help you with a lot more detailed information than I'm sharing today. The next question: what if both parents file for child support, maybe unknowing of each other, but are in different counties in Delaware? That does happen from time to time. Parents will file in separate court jurisdictions in Delaware. The family court obviously is tied together. They have three, there's three counties. They have three courts, but their family court computer system is connected. So they would be able to determine which family court filing should go forward and determine which family court has jurisdiction over the matter. But if you believe that this is happening, I would certainly contact the family court to clarify and make sure that's true or not true, to determine that. They will be able to help you with that, or contact the child support office and we can help you make sure we determine if there are multiple filings. I not being cynical here or anything, but it's probably unlikely that it doesn't happen very often, that a non-custodial parent would file for child support, especially if they think they're going to have to pay. If they believe they are due child support, they may file, that kind of thing. New question: if a non-custodial parent is married, will they look at just his income or both of their joint income when going through the child support process? I mentioned this a little earlier, but I'm more than happy to answer it again. The family court, when determining child support, will not take the non-custodial parent's current spouse's income into effect, will not do that. They will take into effect the fact that the non-custodial parent has, if they have other children, has another family to support. But they will not take into effect the non-custodial parent's current family situation, and vice versa. They will not take in the current custodial parent's current spouse's financial information. It's only the two parents of that child or of the children involved that they will look into, take the income into effect. Good question, though. Good question. So going back up to the slides, I'm going to give one more. Okay, there's no new questions. Going back to the slides. The next slide, do we have to go to mediation, to a mediation conference to get child support? I already talked a little bit about this earlier. Mediation is the first step. They always want to try to get the parties to mediate a child support order, but if they can't, the case can be referred to a family court commissioner's hearing. Like I mentioned earlier, domestic violence issues in a history between the parties automatically goes to a family court commissioner. And the next question is, how is child support amount set? I mentioned that earlier also. The Delaware child support formula, also called the Melson calculation, Melson formula, is used. Both of the legal parents' incomes is used in the calculation. And there's a whole bunch of other information they populate in the child support formula to determine what that obligation is going to be. I think I saw another question. Okay, so yep, another question. Is there a minimum threshold of arrears for escalating enforcement by the Child Support Office or the Department of Justice? Great question. And the first thing I'm going to say is go to our website, because there are a huge amount of enforcement tools, and I mentioned it. If you go back to this video, once it posts on the Facebook page, a couple slides up from where I am right now, we talk about the different enforcement tools. And there are minimum thresholds for different tools to kick in. And I'll just give you a couple examples. State intercept of a IRS, sorry, let me back up. tax refund intercept from the State Division of Revenue, there we go, is $150. If you're $150 in arrears, we send you to the State Division of Revenue. If you're $500 in arrears, we can submit your name to the IRS for a tax intercept. License suspension. It says probably says $1,000 in arrears on the website. We don't start that license suspension process until about $3,500 in arrears, to give non-custodial parents an opportunity for if they have a large order. It doesn't take long to get that number over $1,000. So we've kicked it up to $3,500 in arrears. So go to our website. I really encourage you to do that. For credit bureau reporting, passport denial. There's a whole bunch of different thresholds. So I encourage you to go to our website and look under the tab for enforcement tools, and you'll see all the enforcement tools that we have and the different thresholds to start that process. And I'm hoping one of my child support employees is also viewing this and can list our website in the chat for me while we're going through this process. And actually, and then people will have it. But go to our website and check out our enforcement tools, and that will be that'll give you all the information you need to know about thresholds. And if you have any further questions, call our customer service unit at 577-7171. They will be able to help you. So we only got a few more minutes. I'd like to at least try to get through this slide here. Can the child support payment amount change? Yeah, the family court likes to modify child support orders, or at least look at the previous order every 2.5 years. But they can be filed for petitions can be filed for a modification before 2.5 years if there's a substantial change in either parent's income, or there is a so if the custodial parent loses their job and they need to file for a modification, they can do that. Non-custodial parent, same thing. If they lose their job, they can file for a modification. If we hear that the non-custodial parent got a promotion or is making more money, we can file for a modification. It has to be over 10% of a change of the current order, but that's how we can look at modifying an obligation before 2.5 years. Same for a non-custodial parent. They can modify it early if there's a change. Will a wage withholding order, a wage attachment be ordered? I mentioned that earlier. In about 99% of the cases that come out of the family court where a new order is created, they will put in there that they will issue a wage withholding to an employer. So that happens all the time. And it's kind of, if you're a non-custodial parent, you may not want the employer knowing your business, but it's such a huge help to you as a non-custodial parent to just have the employer take it out of your wages and send it to the child support payment to the office, and then that your obligation is being made. I got one more question I'm gonna hit and answer that, but I want to skip to this slide right here. This slide has our customer service unit contact information. So I want to make sure people have that. Call our office if you need help. And I also wanted to slip to this next slide because here's our child support website. Definitely, if you need any information about the child support program here in the state of Delaware, look at our website, come to our Facebook page, and then there's the family court website and the Federal Office of Child Support Enforcement. These are great resources for information. And I want to answer this last question. I have a friend who is considered non-compliant. I have a friend who is considered non-compliant because the father will not go to court, so they denied her Medicaid. Is there anything she can do? So let me say this. If a custodial parent is on TANF or Medicaid, nothing that the non-custodial parent does nothing that the non-custodial parent does will prevent the custodial parent from continuing to receive those benefits from the Division of Social Services. It is only when the custodial parent does not cooperate with the child support office that we can what we call sanction them and stop their benefits from the division, from the Division of Social Services. So if the custodial parent has not cooperated with us, I encourage you to please tell her to do that. And we will help her continue to receive those benefits, her Medicaid benefits. If so I just encourage, get with your friend and have them call us. And we want to be able to work with her to get those benefits reestablished. During the pandemic, we have not sanctioned anybody for TANF to stop their TANF benefits. But for Medicaid, it's so important that they cooperate with us. So please encourage them to do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to conclude. I will be back next month, April 4th, the first Monday of April, to do the child support connection all over again. Please tell your friends if they have a child support obligation or want information about child support to please tune in. Specifically, if they are a non-custodial parent, I'd love to take questions from non-custodial parents because I don't want them to be confused about the child support process and how it affects them. So please encourage them to tune in and ask questions. I'm on the radio the third Wednesday of every month. This month it will be the 16th of March. WGMD 92.7, 98.5 from 10 a.m. To 11 a.m. with Jake Smith. So please tune in. If you have a question you want to ask me on the radio, I'm more than happy to answer that. It's downstate, but they have a great app. If you live up in Newcastle County, check out their app and you can listen and tune in and ask questions of me. Jake is very interactive and loves to hear questions. So please feel free to tune in. Taking a few seconds here to type in, and I'm going to put a comment in here. This is our website. If you want more information, please go to our website and you can get information about the child support program. But thank you very much, and I encourage everybody to have a great day and continue to stay safe. The pandemic is still with us. So please take care, and I'll see you next month.